Hugh, welcome to the broadcast. It is boisterous. I hope you're up to it. And I'll start with a dual question. Your opinion of the speech as delivered, this debate about teleprompter versus ad lib Trump, and your opinion of the content of the speech.
Well, I never thought I would be saying this, so I want to pause and make sure I get it right. I agree with Rachel Maddow and James Carville.
I'm very sorry, Hugh. I'm sorry.
It is.
That's all the time we have. Good night,
It was an underwhelming performance. His challenge tonight was to drain the toxicity. I want to go back to Nicole Wallace's comments at the beginning of the program tonight. He's entered into the most toxic region in America. He's gotten race wrong 3 times with his down the Trump Tower speech on Mexican illegal immigrants being rapists, with the David Duke KKK comment, and then with the worst 72 hours of his campaign over the last 3 days. In this speech, he wasn't just tin-eared, it was cobalt-eared at the end when he said, "We will take care of our African Americans." And I actually cringed when I heard that. There was a great 3 lines in there about Secretary Clinton's foreign policy failures, but I was at the end of this saying, Paul Ryan is still thinking about that Daily News cover today that said, "I'm with racists," perhaps the most bludgeoning I've seen since the Drop Dead cover for Gerald Ford. I don't think he did anything to stop the panic. I'm with James Carville. I think a lot of people are still looking at the plane is headed towards the mountain. This could be 2006 again. You know, the inflection point today, Brian, I think is up till today, or actually the last 24 to 48 hours, people were thinking we might lose the Senate, but he might win. He names a good vice president, good sec def, good sec state. He could pull this out. And then they began to realize over the last 24 hours he could lose the House, the Senate, governorships, state legislatures. It's a panic mode, and that speech, because of the reasons Rachel articulated, did not take it away.
So, Hugh, what do you do? What does that mean? You can see on radar the plane headed to the mountain, in your words. What does it mean?
New pilots. You get a vice president, you get a secretary of defense, you get a secretary of state. You surround yourselves with a team, because one thing that Carville said, James said this 2 hours ago, there is no campaign. There isn't. They had to bring Chris Christie across the river. They had to rush in reinforcements. I assume that Donald Jr., Eric, and Ivanka were involved as well. There isn't any structure there. There isn't depth. And the writing in the speech, Chris Matthews, the former ghostwriter, so am I, it was just pedestrian. Tell me what we take away from that, other than the cringeworthy moments and the fact that he didn't insult anybody. And he got PPP wrong. When it was shouted out to him, TPP, he said PPP. And I just... You know, I think every Republican who's on the ballot across the country is wondering, do I get my resume better? Do I start calling around and finding a job?
PPP, you know me. Anybody else think that when that happened? Yeah, sorry.
He's down with PP.
So what do you, to the Maddow brief, what do you do to get the essence of the ad lib Trump with an eye toward controlling the material and the outbursts and avoid the teleprompter scripted Trump, Hugh?
Murder boards. Donald Trump was very good in debates. He ought to be doing more murder boards where appellate lawyers go in, and Ben Ginsberg can tell you about this. They just practice and practice and practice, and people call you out when you throw off a completely tin-eared response. And you get some briefing books, and you learn something beyond we're going to get great deals. You start to engage on the issue. When he ran through Egypt, Libya, the Russian reset button, Syria, status of forces agreement server, that should have been the speech. I don't know if anyone had the capacity to write that at Trump Tower today, but that should have been the speech.
John